Okay guys, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be answering first of quite a few student questions. Questions I've had from young people. Obviously this channel is about trying to help out and support and give advice to, I'd say, 14 to 19-year-olds. Here's one of the questions, one of the most popular questions I've got, and I've summed it up into one question. The question is, I have a few things that I'm passionate about, but I'm not sure how to choose which one I should pursue as a possible future career. Any advice? If you've got quite a few things that you're passionate about, it is quite difficult because most people actually struggle with the opposite, which is having nothing they're passionate about. Whereas I'd say you're in quite a privileged position. What I would do is I would now work out, if something's a hobby, it's a lot different to doing it as a career. The idea is that you can choose something you love and it never feels like a job, but there is no dream job. Trust me guys, there's no dream job out there. What you can do is, I think it's all about the percentages. If you can get as much of a job and as high a percentage as possible of it to be enjoyable, where it doesn't really feel like work, doesn't mean you're not being challenged, because in any good hobby, the best part is you challenge yourself constantly to get better at it. But the point is, it's all about fun because no one else tells you should get better at it. You just want to get better at it. And often you're on your own doing a hobby, you might lose yourself in time just because you're loving it so much. Let me give you a few examples. When I had quite a few hobbies when I was young, quite a few things I was interested in. One of them was I used to make my own radio shows on this really old school kind of decks system that my dad had, where I could mix songs together, I could talk over them, I could turn music up, mix, and all these kind of things. The more I actually then researched what the life of a DJ is like, got less and less appealing. That doesn't mean I wouldn't have still kept it up as a hobby, but the point is, it's very different thinking about how you can have fun and translating that hobby into a job. Actually, I do genuinely think it's possible. The irony is that actually the name of that job you might be doing with that mixture of hobbies that you have might not even exist yet, that job, because job titles are going to change so much over the next 10 years due to technology and the way technology is affecting how we work. I would say I had the DJ thing. I used to love sport. I used to love tennis. I used to play rugby. I used to do swimming. Would I want to be a personal trainer? Not quite sure. I don't know. I often think about this because it's like juggling balls in the air, isn't it? If you've got all these hobbies, imagine they're different balls. You've got to just pluck one out and you've got to just go with it. But be aware that if you go with it, pursue it 110%, but know that you can change up. You can change things a few years down the line. If you don't like it, the danger is that people get sucked into this thing where they go, I'm too comfortable now in life, and they just think, oh, I've chosen now, I better stick with this career for 40 years. And then they get 40 years down the line and they're 62, they're coming close to retirement going, I can't think of a single day of my life where I've actually done something that I care about, that makes me feel good, that makes me feel worthwhile. Don't get to that place. Okay? For me, those different hobbies I had, one of them was drama, but actually, you know, I thought I wanted to be an actor back then. Don't really necessarily, I'd still love to do some acting work and I still love to have dreams of doing some films and TV, but I'm not that bothered if I don't get there, because the point is that the hobby of acting has been transferred into wider things like public speaking, like doing this kind of stuff. So what I would say is, if you've got multiple hobbies, you've got to go with one, but have contingency plans and be aware if you don't pursue that hobby as a career for the rest of your life, how can you make that thing transferable? How can you make those skills transferable from that job? If you end up being a football player, that's great. If you get signed up by an academy and you want to move up through the ranks and maybe you're going to be in a Premier League football team one day, brilliant, but it might not happen. So what are your contingencies? Well, it might be that you take your coaching badges. It might be that you also learn how to talk about and be aware about the wider skills you're developing, so that if you move into a completely other job, you could talk about things like team leadership, communication skills, just like if you are in the Royal Navy or you're in the Army. If you then go into a job after the Army or the Navy, you are going to have so many transferable skills. Just the ability to go, I have been in tough situations, okay? A board meeting's fine, a presentation's fine, leading a team's fine, having one or two difficult people in my team's fine. Think about the ways you can transfer things in the future. And that should mean that you have to focus on the now. Choose one of them and just focus on the journey. Focus on becoming the best possible version of yourself you can be with your knowledge and your training in that specific thing you've chosen. And then be aware, maybe a year down the line, you're not enjoying it, stop it. Or reassess what you need from that to start making it more enjoyable. I'd say every 5 years is a good marker. Think about cycles in life, like moon cycles and circadian rhythms, isn't it? And things like that when you sleep. Think of it as your well-being cycle, your professional well-being cycle. Every 5 years or so, I would be, could even do it less, but I would be really honing in on, okay, what have I achieved in this last 5 years, and do I want to do that for the rest of my life? Part of the joy in life nowadays should be that you don't have to stick to the same thing for your whole working life like a lot of people had to do years ago. You don't have to do that anymore. So be aware, trying to make yourself as adaptable as possible. That means having a good set of strings to your bow, and I would say that's my advice.